My inspiration of how to take care of people really comes from like the Ritz and the Four Seasons. In fact, it was almost 15 years ago. They opened a new Four Seasons here in Palo Alto, and I took my whole team to that location. And I said, and we got, spa treatments and spent the afternoon there. And I told them, I'm like, I want you to see how they take care of people and how they make people feel comfortable. For a dentist office, in so many situations, it can feel very clinical. And people walk in and there's certain smells and the sounds and all the things that you can associate with a dental practice. I wanted ours to be very different. So I didn't want them to hear any dental sounds, smell any dental smells. We have aromatherapy, we do paraffin hand waxes. All the rooms are, isolated and closed, so it's very private. And I wanted to create that type of experience that these, what I consider masters in concierge and customer service, are doing for people. And so that's really what we've aspired to do, and do it in a setting where we're taking care of oral health and creating new smiles. One of the things that I think is really unique to what we do is our ability to do, first of all, sedation dentistry. So with IV sedation, you can get whatever needs to be done in one visit, right? Because that's a lot of times the limiting step to more reconstructive type processes is just how long the patient can be in the chair and go through it. With sedation, they're in a great place. They don't care, like, just take care of me, right? And so that I think is really neat. And then using, again, CAD/CAM dentistry, we're able to create restorations in a single visit in our office. So we can do it without multiple visits, etc. And even to the extreme of things, like when we're doing full reconstructions on people, I'll often have patients come in and say, I met with a dentist. They told me it's going to take 6 to 10 visits. It's over the course of 4 to 6 months. And when I tell them, well, we can do it in 2 visits in the course of 3 to 4 weeks, it kind of blows their mind, right? And so that again is how we've tailored and customized our process and our workflow to be able to support the type of patients we have in our practice. So these executive Silicon Valley patients, or patients that travel from out of the area to see us. So we were kind of forced to, I guess, innovate so that we could help them. So at our office, we like to call these small touches grace notes, right? So if you're familiar with a grace note in music, a grace note is a key that's played or a note that's played that's not necessary for the actual piece that's being played, but it just augments or makes it a little more special. So our grace notes at PCCD are things like, first of all, knowing your name, right, when you walk through the door, understanding how important your time is, so keeping everybody on track. And even if, let's say, there's an emergency happens, things happen with, patient breaks a tooth and we have to take care of them right away. Even when we have little things like that could potentially disrupt our patient's schedule, we'll give them, we'll get them a Starbucks gift card. We'll get something to help them understand how much we value their time. I mentioned the spa services that we do, the TVs that we have, the music we provide, the paraffin hand waxes, all of the things that help make a different experience for people. Those are the grace notes that we work so hard to hit every time for our patients. The biggest compliment is them sending their friends and family to see us, right? I mean, that's when a patient shows up and said, Sarah Jones had her smile done here, and she said there's no other place to go. I mean, that honestly, it warms my heart. It just makes me feel so good about what we're doing for people, that they trust us to send people dear to them to come see us. So that by far is the biggest compliment. Beyond or short of that, or another compliment that we get is, it's amazing how often we'll get cards or letters or them even telling us what this has done for them. And so I use this phrase, and I use it in my book as well. We talk about creating confidence with every smile. And it's amazing to see the transformation in people when they go through this process, because they really do become different people. They really exude so much more confidence, and they come in with a different air. I mean, it's fascinating to me. They'll walk through the door, and the vibe that they're putting off is completely different than when they first came there. I'm well connected with different dentists across the globe through organizations I'm in, and I do know that there are some incredible dentists all over the world. And so I always wonder, and I'll make this statement, you know how many dentists they flew over to get to us, right? And so it's fascinating for me to have that experience with people, and I'll ask them, and they'll say, because I know that you're going to give me the best, and I know that you're going to deliver the kind of service that I want for my smile. So that's why they come. I'll tell you how the smile design process has been done historically, and what we do that's different, right? And so the way that typically it's done in 99% of the practices is you see your dentist, you say, hey, I want to do a new smile. I say, okay, great. They'll take some impressions with that goopy stuff. They'll send it to a lab, and they'll tell the lab, hey, make a wax up for a new smile, like 10 teeth or whatever that new smile looks like. The lab will send that back to the dentist, and that's what they use to make the new smile. So what then that looks like is the dentist will come in and do the prep work, and then they'll put temporaries on based on that wax design, and then it goes to the lab, and the lab makes the porcelain matching that wax design, and that's your new smile. That works fairly well most of the time. The problem is, and if you've ever heard people say, oh, I think of veneers as being like big, chiclety, that kind of stuff. That's why it happens. And so when you're creating a new smile and all you're looking at is the model of their teeth, there's no way to know if you're doing the right proportions for their lips, their face, etc. So it's really hard to customize and know what a patient wants using that technique. So what we do is we digitally scan all our patients, both their mouths, their face, etc., their smile. I'm able to digitally design a new smile, and then they're able to give me feedback. They'll say, hey, I like how this looks in my smile, I don't like this, and they're able to see it in their face, right? Which is really important. Once we have that digital to smile done, we'll 3D print a prototype. So we 3D print a prototype of that smile, and then that's what we use for the template for our temporaries. And then the patients can wear those temporaries for a period of time and be able to make sure, yes, this is exactly what I want. And I use kind of the term from carpentry where they talk about measure twice, cut once. So that's what we're doing. We're measuring multiple times, making sure it's exactly what the patient wants. They're giving me feedback the whole time so that when we get to the final veneers, they're exactly what they're expecting them to be. I don't really believe in it being a moment, if that makes sense, right? And so, it's if you look at shows like Extreme Makeover and what they kind of have these big reveals and try to make this wow moment. First of all, I don't think that's real. It's not real life. And second, it's, in my opinion, that's not what it's about. It's about creating a wow experience, right? It's about every step of the process exceeding expectations and being something that people will wow about, right? It's not that they get to the end and then there's a big surprise and a big reveal and it's a big wow. Because if that's the case, then that's very unpredictable, first of all, and it's not really how this process should be built.